Two different school sexting scandals, one at Rochester Adams High School and a totally separate investigation at Romeo Senior High could make sex offenders out of nearly 40 kids. Prosecutors in Macomb and Oakland County could announce charges any day now. Welcome back to Let It Rip. So should we be treating kids who sext each other as sex predators? Attorney Cheryl Carpenter says no. In fact, it shouldn't even be a crime, she says. You may recognize her from her work as Ted Wafer's attorney in a recent high-profile murder case, but she also specializes in defending juveniles accused of these kinds of crimes. Dr. Gerald Shiner back with us to shed some light on why teens engage in this kind of risky behavior that has the potential to ruin their lives. And then there's State Representative Clint Kesto of Commerce Township, former prosecutor, who says, of course, this should be a crime, and it's never a good idea to let people off the hook for distributing child pornography. And of course, we have our legal eagle, Charlie Langton, on the panel as well. Representative, I think we all know that kids do foolish things sometimes, but is the penalty more than it should be for a crime like this? Well, should this even be a crime?
It should be a crime, and I'll tell you why, Murray. You know, we have so many of these cases. People are taking pictures, they're being irresponsible, they're sending them out, and that's what juveniles do, right? But then it gets spread and disseminated. People are using it for intimidation purposes, harassment purposes. And there were two incidents. An 18-year-old girl, Jessie Logan, and even a 13-year-old girl, Hope Witzel, who ended up committing suicide. Now, I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all. You commit it, we charge them with a crime, and that's it. But that's one of the tools, I think, to not have these things go on. The other one is education. And we have to educate parents. We got to have our schools educate these kids that once you send it off on the internet or through a phone or through a text, it's open to everybody. And you know, it's unfortunate because our role models are our athletes and our actors. And you hear what happened with Justin Verlander, and they get somebody hacks into his cloud or whatever and starts spreading the pictures around. But
did he do anything wrong there? I don't know that he did anything wrong. Cheryl Carpenter?
No, that's not illegal.
You defend young people.
Yes.
It was illegal to hack into his account and take his pictures against his will, but he didn't do anything wrong. He was with his girlfriend and took a picture.
About here. I mean, that's illegal. To hack into somebody's account, absolutely, But
the problem is, and I don't know why you think we need the criminalization part of it, what good is that going to do for anybody involved, the boys and the girls and everybody's family? You talk about suicide and hear this a lot from prosecutors. They try to say, well, this leads to suicide. And just like Dr. Shiner said on earlier segment, it's internal conflict. It's not the sexting that is causing these girls to commit suicide. And we are now also labeling these girls as victims. And I've had cases where they're Romeo and Juliet sexual situations and the girls come into court and said, I don't want to be labeled a victim anymore. I'm not. I consented to it. I was 14, but I wanted to do it. I was in love with him, and this should not be a crime.
And that's the norm. That's the way kids act. They see a lot of peer pressure to do that. We've done enough of criminalizing normal adolescent behavior. Smoking, possession of alcohol, those are things that should be dealt with in the home, not in a criminal court. And something like this, where you have 40 kids doing this, it must be a norm in the community. And we forget that we have separate juvenile laws because juveniles aren't developed. They can't appreciate the consequences of their actions. They don't know as much about sex as we think they do. They certainly don't know as much about sex as they say they do. And their minds aren't developed enough to really realize what they're doing. Yes. These are naive kids, and there has to be a diversion out of the criminal justice system into some kind of counseling or family reprimand, but not labeling them as sex offenders for life and having them register, not being able to go to college, get jobs.
But this is a juvenile court. Right, so the laws are different. This isn't, you're not treating them as adults. But let me tell you this, Charlie, you know, the law is the law, but maybe the penalty is something we look at, right?
Yeah, but this is the juvenile system, though. They go through the court system for doing something that is natural at 13 and 14. Listen, sexting today is like playing doctor when we were growing up there.
Or something.
Until it turns into bullying.
Okay?
And that's what happens.
The
it turns into bullying, and it's happened for
but that's different. If it goes beyond, now wait a minute now. If the sexting becomes bullying, you know, penalize the bullying, not the sexting.
That's right.
Right. Right, and you're charging people are being charged under child sexually abusive material. Manufacturing, which is 20-year, even in juvenile court. I mean, they can't go past their 21st birthday in detention. Life is for a sex offender for a lot of juveniles.
And
they go on. It's not just a juvenile court. Yeah, it's not.
A 14-year-old's got to be on the sex registry. Come on.
These are photos of children. I mean, we're disseminating photos of children.
They're teenagers.
Yes. They're minors.
The person who distributes it against their will or without their consent maybe should be sanctioned. But for a kid to take a picture of herself and send it to her boyfriend, you can't criminalize that.
But you know what? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. What we should probably do though is have some kind of sex ed in school at an early age and say, you know what? You shouldn't take pictures of yourself and send it to your boyfriend or your girlfriend.
And there's
that's
a degree of
that's not right.
And we have modesty for a reason. And teach those values and make sure that they're being taught at home, and look into the home when something like this happens, not drag the kid into court.
What I think we're missing in this is that the era our kids are growing up, I have sons that are 8 and 9, I see this. I have so many clients that are teenagers. The lawmakers are older. They're not used to technology. I'm not used to it. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have photos. Sexting is the new form of flirting, and prosecutors aren't understanding that. And it is selfies. The girls are taking selfies and giving them to other people. Nobody's forcing them. Nobody's making them do this.
And nobody's selling it.
Does that make sense that we didn't have this kind of technology before, and now maybe we need to look at that separately from looking at the big picture, so to speak?
We could look at that, but technology advances so quickly. So,
it does.
You know, we could look at old statutes and perhaps change them to what we have in terms of technology today. But let's not forget something. These are pictures of juveniles. They are sexually explicit pictures of juveniles and minors that once they get out, consent or not consent, it's illegal. It's a crime. And you know what? If an adult were to possess one of those photos, even if the one girl sent it consensually,
that's different though.
Then he is in possession. Wait, Charlie, he's in possession of a sexually explicit photo of a minor, and he's charged. And so what we're saying is, okay, you can take a picture and send it to your boyfriend, but then if it leaks, then what? We want to restrict this behavior from this harassment of our juveniles, that they get their photo out there.
Is this working? Yeah, I know. Is this working?
Done. Because kids are doing it these days. That's what they do.
This is why we have judges.
I don't have a problem with that. If it's kid to adult, I have a problem with that. I agree with you. That's not right.
All right, and Charlie, you're teaching at a school, and one of your students has a crush on you, gets your cell phone number, and sends you a picture of herself without a bra?
Hasn't happened, but...
Well...
Right. And we got to end on that one and remind everybody that we're going to find out about some of these 40 kids within days, perhaps early next week, maybe late next week. We'll keep watching that and see what happens. We discuss it here, what we think should happen individually, together. You're probably thinking of it there too.
Can't send someone to jail because we're mad at them or mad about what they've done.
We're trying to protect all of our children.
It's not working. The law's not working.
Discretion, discretion, discretion with the prosecutors.
This one's going to continue out in the hall. You will continue here in just a moment. Charlie taking the show on the road, talking about marriage. Stay with us.